Hello, welcome back to another episode of the channel by me, the Wise James. I'm getting sick of all the racism against white people, so I'm gonna watch this. It's basically this black woman saying all white people should pay her, something like that. Let's watch, find out.
Pay me white people. That is the sentiment that is being passed around right now in many different circles. A lot of people saying that they deserve payment from white people, that they deserve reparations, and I, for one,
For what?
disagree with it. And I'll tell you why I disagree
For what?
with it. Number one, you shouldn't have to pay for something that you didn't do. And number two, if you weren't directly affected by it, why should you get paid? This video is going to ruffle some feathers, but I think at the end of the day, we can all come to the same conclusion, that atrocities have taken place in the past, and our ancestors, all of our ancestors.
White people were also slaves historically. Like, black people in Africa had white slaves. The Egyptians, for example, had white slaves. White slaves also existed. It wasn't just black slaves, and black people held white slaves and black slaves. It wasn't just white people had black slaves. This is such a common bullshit thing. Everyone had slaves. All black people, Chinese people, white people.
Regardless of the color of your skin or where you're from or where your grandparents were from, all of them committed atrocities in the past. If you go back far enough, we're all related to someone who was a piece of shit. The reason
100% I'm related to pieces of shit who are still alive, mate. Fucking people who would kill their own kids.
I wanted to bring this up is twofold. Right now, there are people all over the internet talking about reparations. And in fact, in Australia, the Western Australian government just passed a bill that is going to pay upwards of $85,000 in reparations to citizens. Now, I want to talk about that because it's a little bit different to what we are talking about when it comes to American reparations. But I'll get to that. Also in this video, I want to take a very quick look at a case that happened just recently where a woman was sent to 5 years jail for ending the life of a man. And it's a pretty crazy story to consider that someone would only get 5 years jail.
Because it's a woman.
For literally ending someone's life. Would it have happened if it was the other way around? Absolutely not. There would have been outrage and uproar, but we didn't see any. To really begin this video and jump right into the deep end, I wanted to show you this lady. Her name is Leah V. She's been seen in the New York Times and BuzzFeed and Vogue, and she's the 3 Fs, fat, fun, and fashion, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm excited to hear all about it. Because she's got something to say about white people and how much they should pay her. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, so I can get paid, here is the...
So, if white people have to pay black people because of black people being slaves, then do all black people have to pay white people for all the white people slaves? Or is this just racist against white people? Seems that way.
Sponsor of today's video. It's Sheath Underwear. It is the best underwear on planet Earth and possibly other dimensions and planets, and I'm currently wearing them right. Underwear that you don't like, underwear that I ever. The front that you put chicken nuggets in it, I imagine as well, a bit of sweet and sour sauce. But you can put your little ball underwear. I'm telling you, your entire and avoid. I'm gonna get them. How good now? Back to the video. Okay, so Leah V. So she posts a lot of things about body positivity and all those things that we just absolutely love. Okay?
So positive about her own body that she won't put it in its best state.
Basically, it's just content like this. Hey, I was super focusing on my cellulite on my legs, but I'm practicing posting things that make me uncomfortable. I don't know, maybe seeing my fat legs will help someone feel good about their cellulite. By the way, tickets are on sale right now for my American shows. Go and grab them at isaacbutterfield.com. But why I wanted to talk about her was this post. It came up on my Instagram, and it is a beautiful photo of her. She looks like a fucking linebacker in a big gold room, and it says, "Dear white / non-black / male followers, pay me reparations." Adding a thirst trap for the algorithm. Is that really a thirst trap? Whatever. No donation is too small. And then thankfully she goes into more detail about why she deserves money for...
Okay, asking for a donation, I can accept. But expecting white people to pay you is racism. It is nothing short of racism. Fuck you, lady. Fuck you.
just being a black lady.
We have a match.
Can I just point out, right? Ain't nobody on this planet going to lay at my feet the mistake of others and try and make me responsible for it. It's never happening. Go fuck yourselves. I don't care if Hitler was white. I don't care if the devil was white. I don't give a fuck. You cannot blame me for other people's actions because we have the same skin colour. That is racism. Go fuck yourself.
From the DNA in the leg.
Okay, and it's fantastic. I noticed that I give a lot to the internet. Do you? The world to you, free of charge. Fuck, you are fucking incredible.
What, do you give us inventions for free, like a solar tree, a fucking free energy solution with kinetic energy using a magnetic levitation track so it never runs out of fucking fuel because it's just a magnet flying around a track? Did you come up with a speed light vehicle, a solution to dark matter? Fucking... I don't think some women understand that taking a picture of yourself and putting it online and saying your selfish belief about yourself, never caring about anyone else, is not giving anyone anything. If you're always honest, truthful and honest, I would say that is giving the world something. The truth. But very, very few women are able to be that honest with themselves. So...
Incredible, isn't it? Rosa Parks is sitting on the bus going...
Rosa Parks is a fantastic female. Like, she was black and obviously helped the rights movements in America by refusing to sit, what was it, at the back of the bus? You know, sat at the front of the bus. I don't know the full story, but she got kicked off. Whole rights movement started, you know, well, it was already on the cards. So she helped black women in America be treated as equals. Now, I'm not being funny. Posting a sexualized picture of yourself on a bed and being racist is not the same. You are literally the opposite of Rosa Parks. The opposite of Rosa Parks. She is a fantastic woman who stood up for what she believed is right. You are trying to attack people for being different and want something for free. It's not the same, is it?
Bravo. I don't charge for my content, thank Christ. I don't do paid subscriptions. I don't put my content behind a paywall if you're referring to that particular website.
The only reason people like her and me don't charge for our content is because no fucker would pay for it.
I thank fuck for that. And high key, high key? Is that the opposite of low key? Is that a thing now? I absolutely should be paid for my work, my creativity, and my activism. Every black artist should be paid for their art.
I'm getting real tired of racism against white people. Getting real tired of it, right? Why would a black person deserve things more than a Hispanic person or a Chinese person or an Indian person or a white person? Like, what is this self-entitlement of some black people that they are entitled to something because they're black? You don't see it with most black people. Most black people feel the opposite, in fact. They feel like they're less entitled because of their skin colour, which is wrong. You're equally as entitled as everyone else. But to think you're more entitled to something because you're black, it's just like, what? I've seen some women on the internet having a go at other women and men for wearing dreadlocks, saying it's cultural appropriation. No, it fucking ain't. Dreadlocks is a Viking thing. Vikings were white. Africans have also had dreadlocks, but it's not unique to black people. You can't just claim something is black people's and claim everyone else is doing racial appropriation. That's bullshit. It's what it is that I don't know why black women don't like white people having dreads, but they don't. I'm sure most women who are black don't give a fuck. But there are some who will openly say it's not right and you shouldn't be allowed to do it because it's black history. And no, it's not. It's also white history. Learn fucking... Go to school. That's what you should do, go to school.
You should be paid for your art if you deserve it. End of fucking story. You fucking victim. We all sit back and consume black bodies for free.
I don't think you should be paid for art unless it's good enough. So it's not so much if you deserve it. It's is your art good enough to be bought? If someone's willing to pay for it, it's good enough.
Call me Jeffrey Dahmer with a taste for high melanin content then. I had a whole breakdown from being bullied, being demonetized on Meta, and just how the world hates black women. Do they? Okay.
If the world hated black people, how did Rihanna and Beyonce and, like, loads of black female singers become, like, famous artists? Missy Elliott, for example. Like, she wasn't Beyonce, she wasn't Rihanna, she wasn't some slut selling her fucking arse for a few dollars. She was actually a proper rapper. Like, able to compete with other rappers. What's she on about?
You say so, babe. That I needed to start looking up wellness retreats so I can heal myself from the trauma. But it goes on. And then I thought, how will I pay for a black-owned wellness retreat that I desperately need?
She's going to charge white people for it.
My community and the allies of the page. So if you consume my content, send me a donation for my wellness retreat. Oh my God. A meal, a nails, a massage, or gas for my car. Send reparations now. No donation is too small. This is
reparations to get her nails done and some fuel for her car. This is begging. She's begging people for money on the internet and disguising it as racism. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy, man. That's no different to some hobo asking me for change on the street, man.
This is coming from someone with 97,000 followers. 97,000 people have decided to...
This person has literally 100 times the followers I do, and yet they're begging for money. It just shows you all this idea that these people who have all these followers on the internet are rich and famous. No, they fucking ain't. No, they ain't.
To follow this woman, and this is the type of shit that she's churning out. This is a victimhood mentality that the world is stacked against you. She will never get out of this. She'll pass it down to her children and her children's children, and it is quintessentially a terrible lesson in life. These people...
The world is stacked against you is true, but the world is stacked against everyone, near enough. It's not just black people, it's everyone. The world is stacked against me as a white man with disabilities. The world is stacked against everyone. It's... People think it's unique that the world's unfair to them. No, the world's unfair to everyone.
People will always feel like they are lesser, and that is just plain fucking awful. We are all born with differences, black, white, whatever, arms off, legs off, fucked heads, bald, allegedly. Mate, we just have to get past that shit and just keep moving forward. Don't beg for money. Christ. But you know what? Maybe she does post incredible content that we should pay for. Like this, she showed off how beautiful her back cleavage is, and she got 500,000 views and got paid $657. Wow. You go.
That looked like she had tits on her back. Honestly, that look, I'm not being horrible about women, but like I've seen that on some men as well. But it's like I've seen that's male tits on the back there. That's what male tits look like. Like I don't understand why people think being extremely overweight is an okay thing. Now, it's not. It's not. It's good if you're okay with yourself and you're happy with yourself. That's fantastic. Fantastic. But you would live a longer life if you lost some weight, and you would enjoy the time with those you love more if you lost some weight. Like, you don't need to be 300 pounds. You're not a sumo wrestler. I can understand a sumo wrestler being 300 pounds. Sure. That makes sense because you need to push them out the ring. So the heavier they are, the harder it is to push them out the ring. Makes sense, sure. Shot put guys and weightlifters, they're not fat, but they're big. They're massive because they need the weight to help them with the heavy object. It makes sense. But if you're 300 pounds and you're not like a wrestler, a sumo wrestler, a hammer thrower or shot putter or weightlifter, you're just unhealthy. You're literally just unhealthy. And it's okay if you're happy with yourself. That's fine. That's good. But you would be more happy if you were healthier. Let's be honest. Let's not lie about this. You would be. You would be. If you're willing to show off your body at 300 pounds, imagine how you'd feel showing your body off at 150. All it takes is a bit of hard work and effort that some women aren't willing to do.
Girl. Now, we can all laugh at this lady, but there are very angry people out there who are pushing the message of reparations as well.
Who picket cotton? Us! My skin! My ancestors! Who built the buildings? Mexicans! Who planted rice? The Asians!
And would you ever get pegged?
Wow. That is some antagonistic shit. That, like, fuck. Pegged. Will you ever get pegged? Imagine asking a stranger that. Was that an offer? Was that an offer? Watch.
Ever get pegged?
You offering, dog?
Important questions. Okay, so we've seen this in America right now with the riots and whatnot that's going on. People are...
The strange thing in America is the real immigrants are the white people. Like, all these people who are white, are immigrants. The only actual Native American here is possibly this female in the middle, under the Dodge sign. Although she obviously could be a different ethnicity. She could be Asian. But she looks Cherokee for me. She looks like a Cherokee Native American. So, out of the 30 people in this picture, most of them are white. The one person who isn't white is not an immigrant. The rest are migrants. They are white pilgrims, ancestors from Europe. They are the immigrants. This whole thing is ironic as fuck.
They're angry, and they're mainly angry at white people. And it seems that reparations is one of these big conversations that always seems to come up around events like this, or just on social media in general. Now, here's the problem with reparations. If you are going to pay someone for something that didn't happen to them and happened to their ancestors, you should pay a lot of people. Because not only were African American people and their ancestors who were taken from Africa and sold by Africans to America.
Europeans were also sold into slavery. I know the numbers are far less. But look, 8 million people were killed in the Holocaust. Not all of them were Jews. Some of them were just travelers. Some of them were just black people. Some of them were disabled people. Some of them were prisoners of war. So people would be like, 8 million Jews died. No, it was 6.2 or 6.8 million Jews. And the rest were black people, disabled people, prisoners of war. Don't forget these small percentages of people. Because they're the small percentage, they still matter. Just because white people weren't slaves as much as black people doesn't mean we weren't slaves. We were slaves in our own country to our own people. White people were slaves to white people. Black people were slaves to black people. Black people also had white slaves. White people also had black slaves. Regardless of the numbers, right? If you're going to pay black people because of white slavery, whites having black slaves, then you're going to have white people paid because of all the black slaves. Otherwise, it's not the same, is it? It's one race is being treated better than the other. white people, as soon as you start paying black people for reparations, in my opinion, unless you're, I can understand if your family owned slaves and you're paying their ancestors, that's fine. But I'm on about like, just countries and shit, right? If you're going to pay one race for historic slavery, but then not the other race for historic slavery because it happened less to them, then you're treating one race as better than the other. That's racism.
Not only were they treated like absolute shit and they were slaves, but so were a fuck ton of white people in Northern Africa. And all of those white people who existed as slaves.
There are still people who are white who are slaves in the Middle East and in Africa. You lot have no idea in the Western world how lucky and privileged we are. There are still white slaves in the world. You just will never hear about it because it's not something you would want to hear. So why would you get told?
In Northern Africa, which outnumbered vastly the slaves in America. Those people have relatives that are alive now. Should they all be paid? Should they have a fund? Should they receive some sort of reparations? What if I went back far enough and I realized that I had slavery or someone was a slave? Should I receive that money? Of course.
Because the Egyptians had white slaves in Africa, I think Africans should pay all Europeans reparations. Obviously, I'm joking. Don't edit that and put that on the internet because yeah, that won't look good. It'd be funny though. Don't do that, right? Don't do that.
Of course not. It is ridiculous. It is unnecessary. Except for this. In Western Australia, their Premier or Governor has announced that people from the stolen generation, meaning that the government back in, I think it was from the 30s through to like the 60s, a lot of young children, Aboriginal children, the Indigenous people of Australia, they were taken from their families and given to white families, taken, literally stolen, kidnapped, and given to these people. Now,
yeah, religion tried that with taking children off single mothers, and putting them in Christian families or Catholic families to be raised as Christian or Catholic because, you know, you can't keep up the cult if the cult members all die. You need new cult members to keep the cult going, don't you?
What the government there is doing is survivors of the stolen generation in Western Australia will be compensated through a state government redressing scheme offering payments of up to $85,000. And this brings Western Australia in line with every other Australian state and territory. In Victoria, they were giving around $100,000 to Aboriginal people, which means they are more sorry, which is nice, to those families who had children.
Isn't Australia quite woke? So, like, can I not, like, identify as Aboriginal and get this money? I identify as an Aboriginal who was stolen during the stolen generation, even though I've never been to Australia. I identify as an Aboriginal. So you owe me this money.
Children forcefully removed. Now, what I will say about this is it is completely different to paying someone a handful of money, like the lady at the start, Laura V, or whatever her fucking name was. It's different.
As I've already said, right, say if you got these families in America who used to own thousands of black slaves, and then an ancestor of those slaves comes along to the ancestor of the white person's family and be like, here, you had like my grandparents' slaves, their grandparents' slaves, their grandparents' are slaves. You owe me some sort of financial settlement for hindering my family's progress through time, right? That's basically what the reparation is. And that's acceptable. That is perfectly fine. The same as if you mistreat someone in the world, you have to compensate them. The same as even if I die, right? Because I've already handed in the evidence that exonerates me, and the police are just being slow dealing with it, it doesn't matter what they do, sooner or later, some lawyer or solicitor will find the details of the case, check it over, and be like, hang on, this is an easy case for me to win. And they'll do the case because the evidence has already been handed in that proves the system wrong. They just have refused to process it yet. So Even I could be dead for 300 years, and along comes some legal guy and be like, hang on, you didn't treat this person correctly. This needs dealt with. This is the evidence. Why haven't you dealt with it? And they'll deal with it. Like, we live in a world where records matter and they're kept, so things don't go amiss, so to speak. So when you get some black family who were mistreated for hundreds of years in America, wanting reparations from their previous white slave owners, that's fine. That's no different to war reparations. You know, when a country starts a war and then they lose, and they've cost countries a lot of money, they have to pay that money, that reparation money. Germany paid reparation money to the Allies after World War II, but because we didn't charge them interest on the debt, they had it paid off by the 60s, the 70s. If we had charged Germany debt on its war reparations, they would still be paying it off today. And the reason we didn't charge them interest was because we didn't want to hinder the German economy and German people. We wanted to allow them to recover and get back to normal. We didn't want to just fuck them over for the rest of the time, because we're not animals, right? We are human beings. Well, some of us anyway. Some of you out there aren't human at all. You're more inhumane than human. So when you get this random wifey who's on the internet, thinks she just deserves it because she's black and other people are white, that is racism. That is literally racism. That's what that is.
Different to paying her for her ancestors' pain, because
Fucking adverts. Ruining my reaction video.
Australian government is paying the people who were actually affected by this. They had their lives uprooted. They had their lives ruined, changed, never got to know their families because of a decision from the government that turned out to be completely racist. Now, in the stolen generation, there were families that had kids taken away that probably deserved to have their kids taken away. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but it happens today, right? With white people, brown people, all people. Some kids need to be taken away from the homes because the families are crazy. Now, I'm sure that happened back in the day, but the stolen generation wasn't really that. It was just a blanket rule of we take black kids, and that's horrific, right? So to pay them 50 years later, 30 years later, 60, 70, whatever it was, whenever it was, doesn't seem like an outrageous thing to do at all. They've had their lives completely changed and destroyed. And I think, and you may disagree with me, and I'd like to know arguments as to why this shouldn't happen, but I think it is not only the right thing to do, I think it is probably pretty just. You know, these people have missed out on so much in their lives because of a...
I agree. I think those whose families have been suffering for generations because of stuff like slavery deserve compensation for that thing. But when you're talking about like a modern African American female who... Her parents weren't slaves. Her grandparents weren't slaves. Like, so what right does she have to claim financial compensation for slavery when it hasn't directly impacted her? Like, and expect white people to pay it. It's racist to me because she's not expecting the black slave owners to pay the white people. So it's racism.
A horrific government decision, why shouldn't they be compensated? But it is completely different to paying people for their ancestors. It is chalk and cheese. It's a whole different argument. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to continue this video, so please stay with me. This is a story about Lauren Brown. She was jailed over fatally, those ones, of her partner, James Shealy, during an argument in Perth. Now, we all know
killing someone called James should be 100% extra years on your prison sentence. That's just my opinion, because I'm called James.
That when a man ends the life of a woman, I have to be careful what I say on YouTube, it is horrific. And you hear a lot about it in the media, and there's marches through the streets, and people are very, very angry, and rightfully so. Women shouldn't be attacked by men, but I will also say that no one should be attacked by anyone. and women shouldn't attack men. Now, I don't know what happened in this story, but the fact of the matter is this. Somebody's life was ended, and somebody only got a very short prison term. A Perth woman who was pregnant when she fatally her partner of 5 months in their apartment has been sentenced to more than 5 years jail. Earlier this year, a jury found that Lauren Brown, 29, guilty of
That's because she got charged for manslaughter instead of murder. That's why she got 5 years instead of like 10, 15, 20 years. Because obviously manslaughter is where you've hurt someone, but you weren't intending to kill them, but you killed them. Whereas murder is you were intending to kill them and you killed them. So they carry different charges. So manslaughter could be you accidentally run someone over, but you were just trying to mess around, like with a car, you were just joking around, but you didn't actually mean to run them over. That would be manslaughter. Whereas if you intentionally tried to drive at them and run them over, that was your sole purpose to kill them, would be murder. So if someone tries to murder you and doesn't succeed, they fail, it's still attempted murder, even if they haven't killed you. So I've experienced that myself, and I know quite a bit about it.
manslaughter of James during a heated argument in September 23. Now, Brown goes on to say that this was actually self-defense on her part, and the dude who eventually passed away was attacking her, and because she was pregnant with her son, she defended herself. In sentencing,
he wasn't alive to say if that was true or not, was he?
Justice Joseph McGrath said the pair's relationship had deteriorated in the lead up to Mr. Shealy's passing, and there was an escalation of animosity on the night. In the midst of the physical altercation, Brown pepper sprayed her partner, and I've been talking about pepper spray on this channel, why more women should have it, and then him in the chest. Okay, so the judge then goes on to say that they accept that she was defending herself, and her response, though, was excessive and unreasonable, and that's why she got 5 years. Interesting. Okay, so you wouldn't really think that that was the story based on what the headline was, but maybe this was actually just. The story itself goes on to say that there was a history of violence throughout the young lady's life, and of turbulent and...
The question is, did he have a history of violence? Because if he had no history of violence, not a single charge, no history of violence, and then she has an extensive history of violence, then it means she lied and he was not attacking her. She just fucking stabbed him, claimed it was self-defense, and it wasn't. She lied. Women do this shit all the time.
Deprived childhood. But is it okay to use a knife on someone that's attacking you? Well, maybe. Hang on a second. I've just fast forwarded. This is the article that's completely different from the Daily Mail. Perth mum-to-be, Lauren Brown, that thing, her FIFO, fly-in, fly-out worker, which is like a mining dude in Australia, lover, James Shealy, passing away after he offered her $52,000 a year not to sleep with any other men. What? A pregnant mother fatally her jealous lover after he offered her $1,000 not to see other men. Oh my God. Mr. Shealy made Brown the cash offer to quit her job as an escort and move in with him. There she is there.
Okay, yeah. I if she was an escort and he wasn't even really her boyfriend, yeah. He's now coming across as the stalker vibes, but I don't know. The media tells us what they want us to hear, not what the truth is, so...
You can tell by the eyebrows she's fucking mad. Okay, so I don't know what to take it, because I've read two very different articles here. Now, the claim in court was that it was manslaughter and it was in defense of herself. However, the court heard that Mr. Shealy was a regular victim of Brown's violent outbursts. The female, right? That's Brown. The couple's former housemates once saw Mr. Shealy barricade himself inside the bedroom to hide from her. Brown responded by...
It wasn't self-defense, really. Come on. This... It makes me sick how some women can get away with such evil lies that she's literally killed a man and he probably did nothing wrong. And she's just trying to avoid blame.
by kicking a hole in the door and crawling through it to resume her attack on him. This does not seem like the same fucking article I read through the ABC website beforehand. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think of this. I feel like this needs to be spoken about a little bit more. I think there needs to be a little bit more of a look into what's actually happening here, because it seemed like, I don't know, maybe he attacked her. I don't know. Obviously, it's a horrible situation, but it sounds like, and maybe he was an aggressor at another stage in the relationship. I've got no fucking idea. But from what I'm reading here, and I've scrolled through the whole thing, I've read the whole thing, it seems like they were in a very volatile relationship, but she is definitely not to blame. And 5 years for ending someone's life seems pretty fucking insane. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East.
Well, there's the people have got better charges. There's a woman who's a diplomat in America who killed someone in my country because she was driving on the wrong side of the road, and then she fled the country very quickly, within like 48 hours, and was never brought to justice, never charged. She didn't get charged with manslaughter, nothing, because she fled to America, and she had diplomatic immunity because her husband is a diplomat. So she committed manslaughter by driving on the wrong side of the road because she's a fucking moron, right? Thinks America's the same everywhere. No, right? And then ran like a coward, and their family never got justice. He was killed by a reckless woman from America, and she didn't get charged. She didn't get 5 years. She's probably sipping on some fucking cocktail somewhere in Miami Beach or somewhere. You know what I mean? So 5 years. It's better than nothing, innit? Anyway, peace. See you later.